Peace, love, and light, my loves, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ty, and I'm super happy to have you. Take a look around. Hopefully you'll like what you see and you will hit that subscribe button. If you're joining me again, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate all the love and the support. You guys, back by popular demand, here is a collective energy reading for the full moon in Leo taking place today. If you are not familiar with the way this works, energy is fluid, roles are interchangeable, everything won't resonate. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If the shoe don't fit, don't try to make it fit. If there's a message in here for you, Spirit is going to make sure that you receive that message, okay? Let's get into it. I went ahead and I pulled a beginning spread. I've been sitting here meditating on the energy to preserve time. I don't want this video to be too long. If you notice, the title of this reading is Heal Yourself. I feel like this is a time of deep healing for those of you who have been going through either a dark night of the soul or a tower moment. If you're not familiar with what either of those are or is, the dark night of the soul is a time in our lives when we literally are at the bottom of the barrel. We hit rock bottom, right? And to make a long story short, that is a process that occurs when everything is stripped from you to purify your spirit and purify your soul. And it is a time that is meant to bring you closer to God. It is a very challenging time. Like the dark night of the soul, a tower moment is a moment in your life when something chaotic has occurred and disrupted your stability, just your life in general. It's a time in your life when something very unexpected kind of like rips the rug. It's that moment where you feel like the rug was ripped out from under you. So that's just to explain for those who are not familiar with those terms. The first card out was Hole in the Heart, and what I get from this energy is that a lot of you are really just experiencing a time where you're feeling empty inside. You're feeling like there's just nothing left. And I feel like a lot of that situation, that part of what you're feeling has a lot to do with unresolved issues from childhood, right? So many of us drag that baggage into, our adulthood. We don't address the issues that from our childhood that have really affected us. Many of us don't even notice that we have those issues, but accompanied by that is the self-love card here. Which really tells me she's got like this green crystal around her neck, which represents the heart chakra. And this really tells me that whoever it is, whoever this applies to, if this is you, I really feel like right now you're so caught up in whatever this situation is that happened that you don't even feel that love for yourself. I feel like many of you feel wasted, used, abused. Also, it could have been reversed, right? The roles could be reversed. It could be you that has also been that kind of a person to someone else. But ultimately, the energy that I'm picking up right now is all about self-love and self-healing. I feel like a lot of times people believe that you cannot heal yourself. Like you can't bring yourself out of a certain situation. And the truth is that you can. You can heal yourself. You have the power within to heal yourself, to bring yourself out of that. You just have to access it. You have to learn to access it. You have to find it. That power is lying latent within you. It's already within you. You just have to hone in on it, okay? It's funny because yesterday I did a reading and I didn't post it, but with the entrapment card here coming out in reverse, I feel like a lot of you, and I picked up this energy yesterday in the reading that I did, and I didn't post. I feel like a lot of you are going through a situation where you literally feel like you were trapped into that situation. You feel like you were bamboozled. But I feel like a lot of you need to also take accountability, right? You need to figure out what role you play in your life that is causing you heartache. You know, what role do you play in your own pain? Because even though entrapment is there and you might feel like you were trapped, the situation is a consequence of your actions, your choices, right? Some of you, not all of you, but a handful of you are going through a dark night of the soul, because there's a lot of isolation here, and it's like there's a reality check, right? There's a period in time right now where you're actually starting to realize, and accept the parts of you, your negative pattern of behavior. So some of you were just oblivious to the actions that you were taking, the choices that you were making, that were putting you, how can I say it, having you hustle backwards. So a lot of you just weren't aware of your patterns in behavior, your negative patterns of behavior. And I feel like that's happening now. And a lot of times that takes place when we realize and we learn to take accountability for our actions and how we hurt ourselves, not just others. A lot of times that occurs when you're going through a dark night of the soul, right? Because things are stripped away from you. I feel like with this change in the wind card here, I feel like you're coming out of a tower moment. So something definitely interrupted your stability. So whether it be that some of you were forced to move out of your homes due to a financial issue, or just due to a separation in a relationship, there was a foundation that was disrupted, okay? With self-love here and also entrapment, this is really about thinking about what it is that you want after undergoing this situation. And again, I'll get more clarity as we move forward. But whatever the tower moment was, this is about you looking at yourself, judging yourself, not just others, not constantly pointing the finger, but figuring out where you fudged up, and then figuring out what it is that you want to do. Because regardless of this situation, and again, I picked up this same message yesterday, but I didn't post the video, so I know that this is for someone. It's meant for someone to see this, because it's literally the same message that I picked up yesterday. Regardless of the situation, the past is the past. You cannot change that. All you have is right now. You can't predict whatever's going to happen, tomorrow. Regardless of anything, you are not trapped. You are not helpless. Many of you are light workers, like I said. Many of you are spiritualists. For those of you who this is for, you are practitioners of some sort of faith, right? And you have, like I said, the power within to change your situation. It requires accountability, though. It requires for you to ask yourself the questions. Okay, now that this has happened, learning to forgive yourself, first of all, learning to be gentle with yourself, because when we experience that stage of realization and acceptance, especially when we've been pieces of shit to other people, that hurts. When we realize, damn, I really hurt this person, or I was not a nice person way back when. It's hard to realize that. It's hard to accept it, and then it's hard to forgive yourself for what you did, what you've done. And Spirit is saying it is okay to forgive yourself. that is part of the process as well. It's okay to, and then after you process that, then it's okay to take control of your life back, because you do have that. You have willpower. We all have free will. You do have the power to take control of your life again, and that's what's happening now. That's what Spirit wants to highlight. Hence, heal yourself. You have the power to heal yourself. You, with entrapment, you're letting external circumstances and people outside of you to influence your life, to keep you from living, to keep you in a state of depression, in a state of isolation. And Spirit says enough. Spirit says it's time to get up. It's time to take action. This full moon in Leo is a fire sign. Fire signs are all about action, all about movement. So it's time. There's movement here. With a change in the wind, look, situations, we all experience situations at some point or another where our life changes, right? Obviously, many times it's a result of our own decision-making choices. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes divine just steps in and creates a situation in order to help us wake up. And a lot of times that comes through the dark night of the soul, right? Because you don't realize the patterns and the things that you're doing. Steve Jobs, one of my favorite quotes, I always say it, Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards, right? So it's a series of unfortunate events, but really now you're realizing, shit, I am a product of my own choices. This situation is a product of my own decision making, right? Nevertheless, the universe is ready to support you. You are not alone. So despite the choices that you've made, despite your imperfections, you are loved. You are protected. There is a protection that is around you. Like some of you, I feel, are being attacked. And Spirit is saying, I got you. But it's almost like you have to remember who you are. Now, I don't want to say get cocky, because I feel like that was the situation in the first place for a lot of people. When I see a change in the wind, when I see chaos and conflict, I'm going to mention it again. It brings me, I see the tower in front of me. The tower is a literal card in the tarot. The tower is that abrupt disruption in your reality, right? And that card for me, if you look at that card, I'm not going to look for it in my deck right now. There's a crown literally falling off of the tower. So I feel like somebody was humbled. And that is a very humbling experience. When the rug is ripped out from underneath you, it's like, oh, reality. So I feel like somebody might have already gotten a little bit cocky with how they were moving. Because of status. That's what Spirit is telling me. It's like, you think who you are, and you forget to see that, not just to see the beauty in others, but it's almost like you lose the beauty in yourself, right? When we talk about self-love, when we talk about beauty, we're living in a time where people think that beauty is physical appearance. And I get it. We can all look physically beautiful and we like it and blah, blah, blah. But true beauty radiates from within, right? Charisma, the word charisma is a Greek word that stems from charis, K-A-R-I-S, ma, right? So charisma literally means the spirit shining through, piercing through the skin. It is the beauty of the spirit that comes through. So I feel like some of you may have lost that. In the midst of this chaos, in the midst of whatever your lifestyle was prior to this shift, because this is a huge shift in your life, and this happens to, I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but this is happening to improve, to get you on the path that you're supposed to be on, that you should have been on, okay? But you lost sight of that. And regardless of how beautiful or attractive you might you might be physically, man or woman, your spirit became, I'm going to keep it a buck, your spirit became a little ugly, okay? And so you don't want to lose yourself, right? And the words that are like in my head right now that spirit is giving me is like gluttony. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Gluttony and greed and lust. Your heart becomes, it's almost like you became absorbed by that, right? And I feel like a lot of you are now experiencing the opening of that third chakra. Your crown chakra is opening, and not obviously, but as well, your crown chakra is opening. And in this process of the dark night of the soul, like I said, it might feel like, oh my God, I can't win for losing. You might feel like this is not happening for you, but it is. I promise you it is, because this is a process where you need everything to be stripped from you in order for you to see and think clearly. Divine had to take away the nice things. Divine had to take away the people from your life. Divine had to cause a serious conflict for you to wake up. And I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of you. In this same token, I feel like a lot of you are shying away because you just don't know who to trust. You don't know who's actually genuinely there for you. And Spirit is saying, no, I'm going to bring, so long as you keep your heart right, so long as you keep your spirit right, I'm going to bring to you those who you need. You just have to be ready to receive that guidance. You have to be ready to receive that help. Again, full moon in Leo, I feel like my Leos specifically are going to be feeling like the energy more intense today, or have been feeling for the past few days as we approach the full moon. And the sign Leo is a very tends to be very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Prideful. Leos tend to be very prideful people, and Spirit is saying you have to be ready to receive the help, okay? A lot of you, the 10 here tells me that there's a cycle that's coming to an end, but some of you are resisting the change, okay? With the change card here and the 10 there, and unfinished business. The 10 talks about completions of cycles. When I see unfinished business, but yeah, we have a 10 up here, it tells me that there's something that came to an end or is trying to come to an end, and someone feels like they haven't tied loose ends. It feels like words were left unsaid. Something was left undone. Some of you just literally need to make sure that you organize your life, right? This is tax season. Make sure that you are paying your taxes. Make sure that you are paying your debt. Make sure that you're paying your bills on time. Focus on organizing your life. This energy is all about bringing the attention inward, bringing the attention to yourself, bringing the attention to your spirit, and holding yourself accountable for what you are not doing. Or what you've done, okay? Unfinished business here, for some of you, if this is regarding a relationship, which I don't want to get into, I don't want to make this a love reading. I feel like a lot of times, quickly, readings can turn that way because everybody just wants to know about, love and stuff like that. But I really want to focus on helping you work on your spirit, right? So here I feel if this is regarding a relationship, it's like what's done, it's done. What's happened is happened. The chaos, the underlying energy in this deck was chaos and conflict. Now you got to learn to be flexible, okay? Chaos and conflict, in the midst of all of that, there is a lesson. So yes, this thing happened. The question is, have you learned? Are you ready to, again, take responsibility and make the changes? This situation doesn't have to end on a bad note, if that makes sense. You can, if there's something that you need to clarify or close out, you can have that discussion with the person. You can end this situation on cordial terms, right? Listen, this is what it is, but now I'm out of you. This is you. Now I'm out of this state, right? Because this is in reverse. So I feel like some of you are now starting to like peel yourself out of your darkness, peel yourself out of isolation, right? And Spirit is supporting that. Listen, it's time to get out there because life is still happening. So I feel like some of you are getting now the energy to do that, and Spirit is supporting that. And it's okay after you've done that work, that shadow work, after you've held yourself accountable and organized yourself to come to the table and say, hey, this is what happened, but let's now all we have is to move forward, because now I have to deal with this situation, right? Because what's done is done. So it's time to move forward. That's fine. I can accept accountability for my actions, but now these are my terms. These are my boundaries. This is about setting boundaries for yourself, because if you let someone, they will overstep. You teach people how to treat you, right? With the change card here, like I said, someone may be resisting change, and I'm gonna pivot a little bit here to discuss a little bit of the Yoruba faith. This is not for all of you. This may be specific to one or two people who happen to be watching that are practitioners of the Yoruba faith. Anytime I see this card, I think Chango. Obviously, there's the red here, there's the white, but it's all of the lightning that just makes it come together. And if you are a practitioner of that faith, you know what I'm talking about. Anytime I see this card, I think Chango. So for some of you, this is just some support. If this makes sense, if it resonates with you, then pay attention to pay close attention to this reading, because it's for you. If that's the sign that you needed, it's for you. Maferefung Chango is what I am hearing. And as I'm looking as well, I'm seeing two horses. I have two horses here. And I even have a polar bear. It's just that it's all white. And so, maferefung o batala. Maferefung Chango, maferefung o batala. For whoever that is that needs to hear that. Some of you might have ties to the deities. Some of you, your answers might be found at the feet of these deities, right? So take that as you will. Hopefully it makes sense to you, okay? With the protection card here, again, I feel, again, the universe wants to remind you, like, look, you are protected. You know, regardless of people who dibble and dabble in doing brujeria or like casting spells, do what you want. Let the world do what they want. Focus on healing yourself, because the universe says you are protected. You are guided. You are loved. You are supported, right? But this shift has occurred because it's time to put you on your North Node. It's time to get you on track in the right direction. Doing right by your spirit, doing right by your ancestors. That reminds me, some of you, as I started this reading, some of you that are carrying this childhood trauma and feel like there's just unfinished business, there were words left unsaid, whether it be for a mother who's passed away or for a father who's passed away, you can find that closure. Even if that person is no longer with us, you can find that closure even if that relationship has been severed, right? You can have that. And the way to do that is, a lot of times what I recommend my clients to do is write a letter to the person. Write it, let out your feelings, let out every single thing that you want to say. This is the perfect time to do it, because with the full moon in Leo, full moons are all about releasing, letting go of what no longer serves you. So when you go through the dark night of the soul, that time is to force you into the change, to force you into the change that you've been resisting. With full moons, it's the perfect time to let go. Rip the band-aid. And these are some rituals that you can conduct to help in that process, right? To help cut spiritual cords, to help gain closure, to give you a sense of peace. Write down all of your feelings. Write down everything that you would have said to that person if they were in front of you. And then You can either burn it and toss, bury the ashes in your backyard, however you want, flush them down the toilet, but allow that to be a release ritual for yourself. Because I feel like a lot of you are still, again, hanging on to trauma from your childhood. Yeah, so I'm just gonna pull some cards from this deck. I opened this new deck. I hope you guys are following with me, following what I'm saying. I know I can talk fast a lot of times when I'm in the midst of the energy. Like I watch my videos, I'm like, oh my God, why am I yelling? It's the energy, my loves. It's the energy. Oh, you know what? Spirit is telling me no. Spirit is telling me to pull from this deck and just get some clarity. Yeah, Mendy. It's funny because I was looking at the unfinished symphony card. What is this unfinished business? And look what fell out, mending. So there's something here that someone doesn't want to either let go of, is not ready to let go of. They feel like maybe you're going, again, I didn't want to turn this into a love reading, but there's a relationship here that needs to be repaired. Some of you, that's a relationship with a parent. The parent, there's a possibility that the parent is no longer with us, right? Has passed on to the other life. And in those cases, there are different rituals that you can do to, like I said, one of those writing rituals. But there's definitely some mending. For others of you, this is a relationship that you want to repair. Okay, there's a relationship here that you actually want to repair, and that requires you taking accountability and also learning how to communicate your feelings, learning how to communicate your thoughts, learning how to communicate your boundaries, okay, and your wants and your needs, because that matters. TikTok, I just happened to look at the bottom of the deck, and so it just, time waits for no one. It's time for you to grow. You're delayed. You're late. You're late to the party of growth, right? And that's what Spirit is saying. Okay, I said I wasn't going to take any cards in reverse, so, okay. Yeah, soulmates. It did come out in reverse, so I'm going to talk about it. This is, some of you are experiencing a relationship that you want back, right? There's been a breakup. There's been some sort of separation, and somebody wants to fix it. Yeah, here's this card again, regeneration, right? This is the Tower card. I keep getting different Tower cards, but I'm not using a tarot deck, so you won't see it. But regeneration is all about you peeling those layers off. That's like a snake that sheds its skin, okay? And I know, again, it may feel like this is not happening for you, but it is. You're going to emerge so much wiser, with so much more clarity, with so much more wisdom, right? I'm hearing the phoenix that rises from the ashes, but also for me, listen, the dark night of the soul, my dark night of the soul, I was thrown into hell. I was thrown into the fire, and I emerged as the light. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? I was thrown into the fire, and I emerged as the light, and with love. I emerged as light and love, and that is the process right now for you, is to really get I feel like some of you need to be reminded. You needed a reminder of what really matters. This is really about sitting down and taking stock. What are your morals? What are your values? What do you value most? What is most important to you? And the dark night of the soul is a time where you're forced to face yourself. You're forced to face all of that. Oh, sweat, I had everything and now I have nothing. Why? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong. You could have been the person who was wronged, right? And yet you're going through the dark night of the soul. But there are patterns of behavior and things that need healing. And the only way for you to address that, divine steps in and says, okay, because these are all distractions, I need you to heal that inner child. I need you to heal the parts of you that are codependent. Interdependence is amazing, right? When we learn to rely on each other, the right people who you are guided, who divine guides toward you, okay? It's okay to be interdependent, but you needed to be reminded of what was most important. You needed to be stripped of all the noise, all of the things that don't and didn't matter, and some of the things that do. One of my good friends said to me, sometimes a person will only learn when they lose. I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes a person will only learn through loss. So for some of you, that's the case. Divine had to have you experience a sense of loss for you to get a clue, for you to get your life together, okay? You can't be who you are, who you were, who you are, and who you want to be all at the same time. Advice, these cards are new, so it's like they're not. Okay. 2, okay. We've got your dreams need a practical plan, and the energy is gaining momentum. Closing advice? Closing advice? No, not one more. This is why I don't shuffle on screen anymore, because this takes too much time. I'm gonna have to edit half of this out. Woo! Hold on. I'm back. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. Perfect. For those of you who prosperity lies ahead. Yeah, so we got two, we have 2 bulls on here. Yeah. And the horns are significant. Again, for some of you who follow the Yoruba faith, Maferefun Chango, you might need to go at the foot of Chango, get a reading. Listen, you know, do what it do, but however that fits into your situation. Between this full moon and next new moon, there are going to be significant changes in your situation, and for the better, okay? Your situation is already moving towards improvement, but there's still some work that you have to do. There's still some things that you have to address within yourself, with your spirit. You got to get right with God. Okay, and that's ultimately what it is. People want like another answer, and I have no other answer. Get your spirit right. Get your spirit right. Learn how to use discernment. Does it feel right, the choices that you're making? Does it serve your highest good? This full moon is going to be significant. Do that ritual that I mentioned to you. If you feel called to do it, do it. Luck is on your side. So I feel like some of you might have even experienced a time where like your funds will low. Given this situation, things are going to start to take a turn between this full moon and the next new moon. Also, for those of you who practice, who are heavy practitioners of some sort of spiritual faith or just religious faith, everything is not religion. Everything, it's just not. Meaning like, oh, something goes wrong and it's because somebody did this. Somebody's hating on me. Somebody, low vibes or whatever. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So whatever's going on in here and whatever's going on up here will manifest in the physical realm. So when you see something that you don't like, try not to point the finger. Instead, look at yourself. First, draw the attention within, okay? Because you have to be honest with yourself, again, about your actions. What are you doing? What are you not doing to contribute to your pain or improve your situation? That being said, I hope you all enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought you clarity, a sense of direction. I appreciate you guys. Again, if you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like, share if you know somebody who might receive this message. It does help the channel and I really appreciate it. If you're interested in following me on TikTok, Instagram, I haven't really been doing personal readings, and I'll share with you guys another story about a reading I recently did, and I'm a little turned off. I don't know if I'm going to be doing personal readings for much longer, but all of my information is going to be in the description box below. Feel free to contact me. I love you all. Peace, love, and light. Mwah. Bye.